Hi there, welcome back. Welcome to C programming tutorial. This tutorial is one of the long list of tutorials. You should be able to see a link on the screen right now. If you are not watching them in sequence, I would highly recommend that you watch them in sequence, starting from the tutorial number 1. Unless you already know about C programming and you just want to learn about this particular topic. So today's topic, in our last topic we learned about variables and constants. In today's topics we will learn a little bit more about them, and we will learn about operators, how to operate on variables and constants. So let's get started. So we learned how to declare an integer variable, and we learned how to declare a character variable. So if you have to store numbers, you have to declare the variable as int. Now the numbers, when I say numbers, I mean integers actually, the numbers that do not have the fractional part. So for example, if you declare a variable x to be integer type, like int, what you could do is you could assign x a value of 2, for example. You could assign x a value of 20 if you want to. But what you cannot do is you cannot assign a value of 20.5, because even though it's a number, but it's not an integer. It's a floating point number, or a real number. So fractions not allowed if you declare a variable as int. If you really want to store fractions, fractional numbers, like the numbers with decimal points, what you will have to do is to declare them as floating point number variables. So, and how do you declare that? You use float. You say float f, for example, and then you can say f is equal to 2.5. And any of these variables, since they are variables, they can vary in their value. You can change their value anytime in the program, anywhere if you want to. F is equal to 3.2345 if you want to. You can change it. And as I said before, every statement in C programming, you have to end it with the semicolon. Semicolon kind of tells the compiler that, okay, you are done with this particular statement. Each one of those is called a statement. And what is it saying? It's assigning a value, a constant, to a variable. Okay. Now, what are operators? Operators are basically something that basically operate some kind of activity that you do on operands. And what are operands? Operands can be variables, they can be constants. If they are variables, the operators operate on their values, and if they are constant, they just operate on the constant. For example, what you can do is, for example, x plus 2. Plus is an operator, and it's a binary operator, so which means that it take two operands, left operand and the right operand. And in this case, the left operand is x, the right operand is 2. And this is called, in mathematics, this is called an expression, right? If you learned algebra, you know what I am talking about. So x plus 2 is an expression. So it's basically 20 plus 2. The result of this expression, because the value of x is 20 here, result of this expression, x plus 2, is actually 22. And you can basically assign that value, the resulting value, to some other variable, or like int y, and I can say y is equal to x plus 2, and don't forget the semicolon. So what it does is basically it takes the value of x and then adds 2 to it, and whatever the result is, it assigns it to y. So at this point, the value of y will be 22. You can do the same thing with the floating point numbers. So you could say float g, and then you could say g is equal to f plus 2.5. So what will be the value of g after that? This is what the value is going to be. Currently its value is 3.2345. You add 2.5 to it, it will become 5.7345. So the value of g at this point will be 5.7345. Pretty simple. um, you can actually operate on the characters also. You can actually add them together as well, but we are just going to ignore it for a little bit. Okay, you can, the same way, just like you can do addition by using the plus sign. What you could do is you could do subtraction also. So you could do y is equal to x minus 2. So what will be the value of y after that? The value of x is still 20. So 20 minus 2 is 18. Pretty simple. You could do y is equal to x multiplied by 2. Star is the multiplication sign. X multiplied by 2. What is the value of x? It's still 20. This is the last time that we set the value of x. It's 20. So 20 times 2 is 40. Okay. You could also do something like this. This is plain algebra. The only thing now that I'm going to tell you about is basically a little bit different from algebra. Is basically you could do something like this. X is equal to x multiplied by 2. And what this is going to do is basically it's going to multiply x by 2 and then assign the result to x itself. So see, in algebra this is an invalid equation. But we are not doing algebra here, we are doing programming. So what computer does, or what compiler does, is basically it generates the machine code as we talked before, and that machine code allows the computer, it tells the computer to basically multiply x by 2 and then assign the result to x itself. So what is the value of x here? It's 20. It's still 20. 20 multiplied by 2 is 40, and then assign that value to 40. So after the computer executes this instruction, the value of x is going to be 40 here at this point. So if I do y is equal to x plus 2, then at this point value of y is going to be 40. It was x, the value of x was 40 at this point. The value of y is going to be 42. So you see how you can assign you can compute something and then assign to any variable. What you cannot do is you cannot do like x plus y is equal to 22 and expect the computer to find out the value of x. That's not going to happen. So left hand side of these equations, unlike in algebra, in programming language, the left hand side of these equations have to be only one single variable, the variable that's going to get the value of the right hand side expression after evaluating the right hand side expression. So this covers pretty much all the operators. Real quick, there is another operator which is a little bit unusual. You might find it unusual. Is basically plus plus operator. And what it does is basically it increments the value of whatever the operand it's working on. It's a unary operator, which means it only needs one operand. So if I write x plus plus, so this is illegal, so we are going to delete this. If I write x plus plus, what it will do is it will increment the value of x, and here the value of x was 40. It will increment the value of x by 1, which will make it 41. It's the same as if I write x equal to x plus 1. Almost the same. Okay, the result wise it's the same. It will result in the same value, 41. So it's just a short form of this expression. Similarly, you could have x minus minus, which will basically be the same as x equal to x minus 1, and what it says is basically subtract 1 from x and assign it to x. I'm kind of running out of time here, so I hope you understand what operators mean. So please rate 5-star if you like this video, and also subscribe to my videos so that you can be known, you can know as soon as any new video is posted. Thank you so much.